Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we sit here today for one reason and one reason only. House Republicans are willing to do just about anything to protect Donald Trump from the consequences of his actions. On May 30th, a jury of his peers sitting in a state court in Manhattan convicted Donald Trump of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree for paying hush money to conceal information that could have been harmful to his 2016 presidential campaign. Let's see how that all unfolded.
An unprecedented moment in American politics. Former President Trump indicted by a Manhattan grand jury.
Breaking news. It appears for the first time in American history, an American president has been indicted on federal charges.
The Justice Department unsealing the 49-page federal indictment against former President Trump for his handling of classified documents after leaving the White House.
A federal grand jury here in Washington has voted to indict the former president for his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election.
Former President Trump has been indicted now for a fourth time. The nearly 100-page indictment was unsealed last night in Georgia.
A whopping 91 felony counts in total. 91.
The jury a short time ago alerting the judge it has reached a decision in the Donald Trump hush money trial.
Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. Count 3, guilty.
It's 15 out of 15 so far.
He became very still. He had his arms folded across his chest.
Count 31, guilty. Count 32, guilty.
His face was red. He looked upset. He had a frown on his face.
He's scared. And frankly, he should be.
Guilty on all 34 felony counts.
We arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes to the courtroom doors.
Let me be clear. This trial was fair and just, and allegations to the contrary represent a desperate, evidence-free attempt to shield Trump from accountability. Today, we are going to hear a long list of allegations designed to undermine public faith and confidence in the jury's verdict. Do not be deceived. These are baseless allegations, and we can take them down one by one. First, Republicans claim that Judge Merchan was, quote, handpicked to handle the Trump case because he had donated $35 to Democrats in the past. This is false. Judges are assigned at random in the New York court system. With respect to Judge Merchan's $35 donation, the New York Advisory Committee on Judicial Ethics issued an opinion saying that he need not recuse himself from the case, and there is simply no evidence that any of Judge Merchan's rulings were biased in any way. Second, Republicans claim that the jury's verdict convicting Trump was not unanimous. This is absurd. The jury instructions plainly stated that, quote, your verdict on each count you consider, whether guilty or not guilty, must be unanimous. That is, each and every juror must agree to it, close quote. The verdict was unanimous on each of the 34 counts. Third, Republicans claim that all of Judge Merchan's rulings went against Trump. This is false. In fact, Judge Merchan repeatedly ruled for Trump, including a critical ruling that required prosecutors to prove willfulness under a heightened mens rea standard. Fourth, Republicans claim that Judge Merchan prevented Trump's expert witness from testifying. This is false. Trump's attorneys chose not to call that witness because he could not have testified about underlying questions of law, which is a role solely reserved to the judge. Fifth, Republicans claim that Attorney General Garland secretly, quote, dispatched Matthew Colangelo, a former DOJ attorney who served as the lead prosecutor on the Trump case, to the Manhattan DA's office as part of an elaborate ruse to plant DOJ prosecutors and state-level officers to attack Donald Trump. This is false and utterly absurd. Last week, the Attorney General clearly and unequivocally told Republicans that they are wrong. The Department of Justice has no record of any communication to the contrary, and Republicans have not and cannot produce any evidence whatsoever to support this nonsensical claim. And that's the theme for today. Republican attacks, one after another, lack any basis in truth or fact. My colleagues across the aisle know this, and yet they repeat their attacks ad nauseum because that is the only play left in their playbook. They didn't like the fact that Trump lost in 2020. So, lacking facts or evidence to support their claims, they instead attacked our democratic institutions, basically claiming that the election was rigged and corrupt. They didn't like the fact that Trump was indicted for mishandling highly sensitive classified documents, so they claimed that Trump declassified them with his mind. They didn't like the fact that the FBI had to send in agents to execute a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago because of concerns that Trump would destroy documents, so they claimed that the lawful execution of a search warrant constitutes a raid and a witch hunt. And now they don't like the fact that an impartial jury found Trump guilty not once, not twice, but on 34 separate counts. So they are attacking the judicial process, calling it rigged, corrupt, and pre-cooked, without a shred of evidence to back their allegations. And why are they doing this? Why are they sowing doubt in our system? Why are they using rhetoric that is guaranteed to generate death threats against the judges and jurors and prosecutors and police involved in these cases? For one reason only: to protect the felon. A felon who, I remind you, faces an additional 37 felony counts related to his mishandling of classified documents, 4 federal counts for conspiring to launch a riot on January 6th, and 13 counts in Georgia for conspiring to interfere with the administration of the 2020 election. Within the bounds of our system of laws, there is nothing Trump can do to escape a trial on each of those counts, or to escape a sentence if he is found guilty on any of them. Trump and his allies know this, and so they are moving heaven and earth to undermine the system itself. That includes the attempt by our chairman to reach into the New York case while sentencing is still pending and drag the Manhattan District Attorney before this committee. That demand represents a completely unacceptable abuse of the gavel. It is entirely inappropriate for us to interfere with an ongoing state prosecution, no matter how much blind loyalty you feel you owe to the defendant. It is also an effort that smacks of desperation, and it seems, from the standing of MAGA Republicans these days, that the American public has caught on. Donald Trump has faced a jury of his peers. Nothing can change that. We here will face our constituents in November. We should conduct ourselves accordingly. I thank the witnesses for being here today, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.